Hey, Wayne,
Are we ready to go?
it's all yours. Yeah.
Hello all, thanks for joining us this morning. We know that you had several other sessions you could have selected from. My name is Wayne Ellington. I've worked in the auto industry for many, many years. I currently work at the Nissan plant in Smyrna, Tennessee. I'm a mechanical engineer and I work in the reliability-centered maintenance department. Keith, do you want to do a brief intro?
My name's Keith Salyer. I've been at Nissan for about 30 years. I currently work in paint process engineering. Prior to that, I spent about 15 years in the body shop. So my main focus while at Nissan has been between body and paint. I'm currently working on the Murano transfer from our Canton, Mississippi plant up to Smyrna.
Okay, and we do have David Fields from UT Knoxville who's helping with the controls. Kind of the first thing that I wanted to review is Nissan does have a pretty good size footprint. Here in North America. The plant where Keith and I work is in Smyrna, Tennessee, and we happen to be the highest volume auto manufacturer in North America. Very few people know that. We have about 10,000 people that work on site. It includes a lot of our suppliers actually work on site. At our plant, we build cars and SUVs around the clock. The shift starts Sunday night and we go through Friday afternoon. We're capable of building one car and one SUV each minute. And right next to the plant, we have a 1 million square foot logistics center. We also have a headquarters in Franklin, Tennessee that provides all the staff and support for the business here in North America. We have an engine plant in Deckard, Tennessee, down near Manchester. And the Deckard plant builds over 1 million engines a year for both Smyrna and the plant in Canton, Mississippi, and also all the Leaf electric motors, the all-electric Nissan Leaf for our plants here. They also happen to make engines for the Mercedes plant down in Alabama. They have about 2,000 people there in Deckard. We have a sister plant, like I said, in Canton, Mississippi. They build cars, SUVs, trucks, and vans, so quite a few more vehicles than we do. But they are smaller, not as fast to line speed. Then the last facility is we have a technical engineering center up in Farmington Hills, Michigan, that provides support for the Nissan factories and business here in North America. Well, now I'm not able to change pages.
Did you try hitting enter on your keyboard?
Yep.
See if it'll take it.
So why don't I stop sharing and then I'll reshare. Okay. So the next slide, what Keith and I would like to share with you is we have a brief video that shows from start to finish how we build cars in Smyrna. So sit back, it's about 6 or 7 minutes long.
At Nissan, the driving force behind the company is the belief that the power comes from inside. Individuals working together to build high-quality, high-performance vehicles. More than 9,000 people work in the Nissan Smyrna vehicle assembly plant, with close to another 1,000 on-site suppliers, each playing a key role in delivering quality and customer satisfaction. Since the first pickup truck rolled off the line in 1983, Nissan Smyrna employees have produced over 13 million cars, trucks, and SUVs. Nissan's investment in our integrated manufacturing system allows us to build a number of vehicles on common production lines so we can adjust production mix based on the unique demands of the market. It also allows us to use the now 6 million square foot plant to efficiently produce more than 640,000 vehicles a year, or about 2,500 vehicles a day at peak capacity. Production on this level comes with bragging rights. The Smyrna Assembly Plant is recognized as the highest volume automotive plant in North America. In 2018, J.D. Power recognized the Smyrna plant as a top 3 manufacturing plant for vehicle quality in all of North America. While many plants build a few core models, the Nissan team in Smyrna currently produces a mix of cars and SUVs, each offering distinctive styling and performance for a variety of lifestyles. The innovative Rogue, the versatile Pathfinder, the premium Infiniti QX60, the flagship Maxima, the 100% electric Nissan Leaf, and the 6th generation Altima with advanced Nissan Intelligent Mobility driving aid technology. Every vehicle built in Smyrna begins the journey in stamping, where 20-ton rolls of steel are pressed flat into sheets. These steel sheets become doors, fenders, roofs, and hoods. 12 major press lines use nearly 1,000 dies to make all the different body parts that go into our vehicles. After they move to body assembly, these panels are welded into vehicle bodies with the help of robots supervised by our technicians. Nissan's intelligent body assembly system checks the accuracy of each unit down to half the thickness of a penny. Once the metal bodies receive a finish for a smooth surface, they travel to paint. There, each vehicle receives a bath to remove all dust and dirt. Then, we apply a sealant and electrically charge both body and paint to improve adhesion. We sand it, prime it, and finish it off with a top coat of paint for a lustrous finish. The painted vehicles then move to the final assembly area. In trim and chassis, technicians add the electrical wiring, seats, steering wheels, door glass, fuel tanks, tires, and engines. All the parts needed to make a high-quality finished vehicle. Engines for Nissan and Infiniti vehicles manufactured in the United States are built at 2 world-class powertrain plants located in nearby Deckard, Tennessee. These plants produce 1.4 million engines and electric motors a year and employ nearly 3,000 people. In the 21 years since Nissan Deckard opened its doors, these plants have produced over 10 million engines. The finished vehicles move to pre-delivery, where they each go through an entire series of checks, including a thorough test drive to ensure that they meet Nissan quality standards before being sent to one of our more than 1,200 independent Nissan and Infiniti dealers in the United States or exported to one of over 60 countries around the world. As much as Nissan is committed to building quality vehicles, we are just as committed to the environment. Thanks to the Nissan Green Program and our commitment to maintaining key ISO certifications, we recycle most waste associated with our manufacturing process. In addition, ongoing efforts to reduce greenhouse gases and improve energy performance have garnered repeat Energy Star recognition from the Environmental Protection Agency. Since 1980, Nissan and our employees have demonstrated a passion for giving to the community. We find meaning in enriching people's lives through generous support of community partners, including United Way, Habitat for Humanity, Boys and Girls Clubs, and the American Red Cross. The same commitment to quality and community can be found at our manufacturing facilities in Deckard, Tennessee, Canton, Mississippi, as well as our North American Technical Center in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and our North American headquarters in nearby Franklin, Tennessee. The Nissan Motor Company produces vehicles in 20 countries and sells in over 160 countries and areas worldwide. Nissan is part of the Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi Alliance, which has become the largest automotive group in the world. As Nissan continues to grow, we know that our success is based on the efforts of every individual. Each has the power inside them to commit to excellence every day. In Smyrna, that means building high-quality, award-winning Nissan and Infiniti vehicles that will satisfy our customers' needs for safety, style, and performance.
Well, now that everyone has seen how we build cars in Smyrna, if you don't mind, we have the first poll math question for you. If you would, don't leave the Zoom meeting, but go over to your CTE platform and answer the poll question. And come on back to Zoom. David, if you don't mind, would you read the question to us, please?
No, I don't mind at all. For those of you who may not know where the polls are located, if you're in the chat box, the polls are just to the right. Just click on polls, and then you'll see the question you can hit to submit an answer. The question is, if we can make one car and one SUV each minute, how many tire and wheel sets must be built up, balanced, and installed each minute? Options are A, 4, B, 8, C, 10, and D, 12. So if you will go ahead and start submitting your answers for that. And once you hit your answer, please click submit. Currently, we have the majority of people are selecting B, 8. We have followed by A, 4, about 10%. About 6% think it's C, which is 10. Votes are still coming in, poll results. Okay, looks like we're kind of tapering off here.
Looks like Elizabeth Giger has raised her hand.
Okay. Do you want to check in on her while we're getting poll results? Elizabeth? Okay. Elizabeth, we're going to give you the option to talk. You'll need to unmute your mic if you have a question. Okay, you should be able to unmute and speak now.
Okay, I do not see the poll. I see the questions, but I do not see the poll to answer.
Okay, do you have an option to click?
No, I do not. I do not.
Do you see the polls in the box where the chat is?
No, I don't even have that option on here.
Okay, so where you entered this meeting at the GTR, the CTE
yes.
page, so that's where the polls in the chat are located. So you'll see the button where you join the meeting, and to the right of that, you'll see a box that has chat, people, polls, and files. That's where those are located, not actually in the Zoom meeting interface. It's back where you join the meeting.
So I'll probably have to do it after the fact.
Yeah, if you're working off one screen, you might be able to go in and do it afterwards then.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So David, has pretty much everybody selected an answer?
Yeah, I think we have finished up at option A, 4, we had 9%. Option B, 8, had 76%. And option C, 10, had 11%. and option D, 12, had 4%. So the majority went with B, 8.
And unfortunately, the majority was incorrect. Each car does have 4 tires hitting the road, but there is always a spare someplace under the vehicle or in the trunk. Most of the cars we build in Smyrna all have a mini spare hidden somewhere. So the correct answer would be that each vehicle has 5 tires and wheel sets that have to be built up and installed. So if we can build 1 car and 1 SUV, that would be a total of 10. So I think if everyone thought about how many people it would take from Discount Tire or Walmart to assemble 10 tire and wheel sets, balance them, air them up, and put them on a car, it would be extraordinary amount of number of people. So that's why we have to use automation, robotics, high-speed manufacturing processes to be able to build 10 tire and wheel sets and install them each minute. So moving on, I wanted to kind of give you a sheet of contact information that's available in the files section. So at the end, you can download a copy of this. And these are kind of hard to find things about Nissan that are hard to find out about, or people don't even know that we do this. But basically, and actually under the current circumstances, almost each of these things has been canceled this summer. But just to kind of go through, and if you would keep this for your records for like next year, if you wanted plant tours, you would contact this email address or this phone number. If someone wanted to work on the assembly line for production online positions, these are the 2 places, or this is where you could go and find out about work on the assembly line. If you have people who are interested in professional technical positions, you would go to our Nissan Motor global career site, and it would show you open positions around the globe. But our major ones, as we discussed here in the US, are kind of listed here. There's a how to get a summer internship. So if you knew of students who are in a 4-year technical program and they were wanting to do an internship, that I highly recommend. I'm sure Keith supports my thoughts on this. It's a very valuable experience. But if you wanted to be a intern at Nissan, you'd start looking around October and go to our career site and apply for it. If you were in a mechatronics or maintenance, mechanical, electrical type program, and you were interested in being a work study student and you were half done with your schooling, you could send me a resume. We could review that. If you were a high school student and you were interested in an engineering type career path, you could always check out our summer engineering program for sophomores through seniors. It occurs on 4 Saturdays during the month, during the summer. And basically you are taking on real world quality or engineering issues that exist in the plant. You're working with real plant engineers, reviewing what needs to be done to fix these issues. You take part in it and come up with workarounds, that type of thing. And ultimately you give a share out presentation to the plant leadership. And in the middle of all this, you get to have about 8 hours of training on FANUC robots. If you never have moved an industrial robot, you could learn how to program robots in that program. If you're a female, we do have each summer a DigiGirls program. It's put on by Microsoft that we offer at our headquarters building in Franklin. And there's how you would check on that. And the last item, this is a summer robot camp that we put on with Lipscomb University. Each summer, the younger folks that want to build robots, they can contact Ms. Riesenover and enroll in a summer robot camp where they go for 4 or 5 days a week and they learn about mechanical, electrical things and build build robots that are commensurate of their age level. On the final day, they show their parents what they've learned during the week, and in some cases, there's a competition or of the things that they have built during the week. So again, unfortunately, all these items have pretty much been turned off for this summer because of the condition that we're in. The other thing that we kind of wanted to go through briefly is, I see we have some participants with raised hands. David, could you catch those?
Yeah, certainly. Are you ready for those questions?
Go ahead.
Okay, I've got one question that came through the chat, I think, before some hands were raised, and it's from Stephen Williams. He wants to know, I heard from the dealership that spare tires are moving away from vehicles due to things like OnStar and roadside assistance.
There have been, with the increase in reliability of tires, there are some high performance car manufacturers don't have a spare tire, and they offer quick response to come and get you out of trouble, or they offer sealant that you can put into a tire that has gone flat that tries to reinflate you to get you home. Again, those are starting to come because tires have become much more reliable nowadays than they ever were before. But currently, we do make mini spares for the cars that we produce and the trucks.
Anita Scruggs, we are going to allow you to speak. So once you get the option, unmute and let us know what your question is. You should be able to do that now.
I apologize. That was an accidental click on the raise the hand. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll have a question and answer period here at the end. Let us kind of go through these common positions that we have in manufacturing. And this kind of goes along with the line, or the education level that the candidate is willing to do. But our first level would be production line assembly work, of which, as you can imagine, we have many, many thousands of these people that assemble cars or build engines, make motors. And if you have a high school diploma and you're able to pass a follicle hair drug screen, you can work on the assembly line, and the starting pay is about $33,000 a year, full benefits, medical, dental, vision. So that's where you would be with a high school diploma. The next level up that we are sharing is like a multi-craft maintenance technician. So this is someone who wanted to go to a 20-month program or a 2-year industrial electrical mechatronics type program, pass the same drug screen, and work on the automation, the robotics, process equipment. That starts at $58,000 per year. So with a very short education or 2-year diploma, you can have a very high rate of pay. But as you can imagine, the newer maintenance folks, they would work on the shifts that the more experienced folks don't want to work. So you would likely have to work in the middle of the night to get started, or on the weekends. Next thing that we kind of listed was production supervisor. And production supervisors are typically those who have 2 years of manufacturing experience, and they did well during their time working on the assembly line. A 2-year diploma of general studies is preferred, pass the drug screen, and they can make about $64,000 a year, I think is their start, yep. The technical path for, say, engineering, a 4-year bachelor degree in mechanical, electrical, process, chemical, industrial technology, computer type engineering programs. You can also start off at $64,000 a year. And they have an advancement program that's based upon experience, extra training that you can move yourself up the ladder. The last one I did want to cover is the other professional positions such as finance, supply chain, quality control, marketing and sales, manufacturing leadership. All of those some type of a 4-year bachelor degree would be appropriate. Have to pass the same drug screen, and they start at about $55,000 a year. In the download files, you'll see copies to our LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. So we've pretty much gone through our brief presentation, and now it's we're open to you, and we'd prefer that you go back to the CTE seminar platform and type in your chat questions. And David's going to read them out, and between Keith and I, we'll try to get them answered. And this goes a lot smoother than trying to raise hands. So if you don't mind, go ahead and type in.
Currently, we don't have any questions in the chats. There are some great comments. I know you guys are going to enjoy seeing those. But John Fagan does have his hand raised, so I can allow him to speak if he wants to voice his questions. So John, you'll have the opportunity to speak now. You'll just need to unmute yourself. John, are you there? Okay, we'll take this. Are you there, John?
Okay, you there?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, having all kinds of technical problems. I had to re-up the whole page, and it takes a few minutes for that to happen. So I wrote a number of comments that got lost. So I have a couple of questions. One is I teach in corrections, and I'm wondering what Nissan's position is on hiring ex-offenders.
You want to take that, Keith?
Well, it's an interesting question. I'm not real sure that there would be anything negative against them as long as they can pass the drug test. The only test I'm aware of is you have to be able to pass the hair follicle drug test.
I would like to add
Drug-free environment.
Yes, very much so. And you
Excellent.
can be tested at random anytime. They can pull you off the line.
Okay.
And it
And
is
they
a
just
hair
grab a
follicle.
hair?
It's hair.
Yeah. So that goes back months.
Yes.
Okay. Another question was, how is COVID? Go ahead.
John, I should add that dangerous felons or types of convictions that are dangerous in the workplace, they are excluded from hiring. So
Understood.
something that's dangerous, or they have been convicted of something dangerous, they would not be allowed to apply.
Okay, well, yeah, that's the question that the corrections people always have, because we're trying to prepare people for careers, and then some companies jump all over inmates as far as wanting them, and others won't touch them at all. So we've had some of the bigger companies actually have programs where they've had excellent success hiring ex-offenders, and then other companies just go, we don't do it at all. So that's the question we always want to ask. And I noticed on your chat, there's a lot of us corrections teachers on here this morning. But the other question I wanted to ask was the supply chain issues of, is Nissan up to full production or mostly producing right now? Like one thing I mentioned in the chat comment was I've been looking around trying to find a freezer, and literally nobody has freezers right now because they can't get the parts to put them together. Because of COVID restrictions on shipments from China and other places. So how is that affecting Nissan?
Well, as expected, we had our logistics issues with suppliers. I think we are about up to full production now. We've not had any part shortages here in the last few weeks that I'm aware of. Now, production is actually down from what we had hoped it would be a year ago due to the COVID situation. I know that people aren't buying cars the way they were. Part of that was due to the automotive downturn. And we also, Nissan is in a stage right now to where a lot of our models are old, like our Rogue, our Pathfinder, and our Infiniti QX60 have been in production since 2012 and 13, so they're 6-year-old body styles. And as a matter of fact, we're just getting ready to put the new Rogue in production in the fall, so it'll be out soon as next year's model. And then next year we launch the new Pathfinder and new Infiniti QX60, which will be on the dealer lots within a year. So we're hoping those new body styles will boost sales. Everybody wants the new body styles.
John, thank you for your questions. We have a few more in the chat I would like to get to. Stanley Russell would like to know if he can start scheduling tours for 2021. He usually schedules a tour 6 months plus in advance.
We certainly know Stanley. He brings his class in for a tour once or twice a year. Appreciate him doing that. And Stanley, if you would just email either me or the email address of Norm like you have been, and he'll give you what our policy is currently. I'm not sure if we're taking reservations for next year. I suspect we are, but send us an email and we'll work out the details.
And another question from Amber Harris Stokes. She would like to know, do you recruit students from West Tennessee? Do you all come to this area to promote your programs and jobs? How can we connect?
I would say I really haven't gone to the Memphis area, but we have TCATs in West Tennessee that we have gotten maintenance technicians from. The schools that we have gotten our summer interns from are usually the schools in and around our region. And I can't say, as I recall, some of the students from Memphis who were going to UT Knoxville were picked as summer interns this summer. They were going to UT Knoxville, living in Memphis, but unfortunately, before we could ever kick off the summer internship program, it ended up getting canceled because we had to close the plant. So we do get people from West Tennessee, but usually it's because they are in colleges or schools closer to us.
Okay, Dennis Jones has a question. Does Nissan have a program similar to Firestone to help high school students prepare for positions at Nissan?
Yep, we sit on the advisory board for several other programs local to the plant, such as Oakland High School in Rutherford County. We're on their advisory board for the mechatronics program. We also sit on the boards for Motlow Community College and Columbia State, MTSU. So we are on the advisory boards, but high school wise, the things that we can offer are the summer programs like the summer engineering camp that we talked about, the DigiGirls camp. But other than production work, unless the student graduated with a mechatronics diploma from high school, we really don't have positions other than production that we'd really be looking at that person for. Keith, have you got anything you wanted to add to that?
The main thing is for college students is, and it was on the slide, to start looking in October and November. Most college students don't realize that positions are filled that early. They think of looking for internships in February and March, and most of ours have already been selected by Christmas for the next summer. I know I used to help with the mock interviews at David Lipscomb, and I'd go over there in February and they would be asking about summer interns, and I'd have to say, well, I hate to tell you, but we're already filled up for the summer. They couldn't believe that positions were filled at Christmas for the following summer.
Our summer internship programs for four-year program students, we do take applications from around the country. We actually have facilities in out in California. We have a desert test center in Arizona. We have places all around, and so students are selected for internships from all over the country. The program, the internships that Keith and I are closest to in the maintenance group, with those we kind of have stuck to the colleges that are in and around our region. People that already have support systems, already enjoy the area. We've had the most success in David Lipscomb, Vanderbilt, TSU, MTSU, Tennessee Tech, and UT Knoxville.
And one other thing for engineering, megatronics is the big word now. And there's schools like I know MTSU that offer 4-year degrees in mechatronics. You can come in with a mechatronics engineering degree and work as an engineer. It's no longer limited to the old mechanical, electrical, civil, chemical. We actually have a guy working in my group now that's got a 4-year mechatronics degree from MTSU.
As everyone can imagine, the automation and processes that we have to use to remain competitive in the global marketplace, they are very, very high tech. And the days, for me personally, I was a mechanical engineer. And unfortunately, that's an out of date degree for manufacturing. I've had to learn electronics, high-speed communications, robotics, electrical power systems. Those are things I've had to learn to remain viable in the modern workplace. So in manufacturing, where machinery is so complex, high-speed communications, PLC driven, you really do need someone that has a background in all the basics, mechanical, electrical, robotic type fields to be viable. There still are mechanical engineering positions, for people that are building sewer systems for big buildings and this and that. But here in manufacturing, as Keith had mentioned, if you're in charge of process equipment, it's usually good to have a good background in all facets of engineering.
No, I'm in a similar situation. I have a bachelor's in mechanical from Tennessee Tech, and I was up there in the 80s. And if I had to look at the curriculums now, probably the 4-year mechatronics curriculums would have somebody more well-rounded for what we do than any of the rest of them.
Okay, we have a few more questions here in the chat. Ronald Burke says, I'm in corrections. Question is, does your applications ask about felonies, or do applicants get an interview before this is asked? Wondering about the ban the box movement.
I believe it asks you to list convictions. And so they'll make a determination. If it's something dangerous, then you'd be scrubbed. If it was something not dangerous, then you'd get an interview.
Okay, and Joshua 40 says, does mechatronics include robotics?
Yes.
Okay, and Daphne Harvey wants to know, would an inmate be able to apply before being released on parole? They have to have a home and job plan approved by the parole board before being released.
I would say that one, when you download the file section, get in touch with the Career Center. That would be a question for our hiring group. The Career Center, I'm sure they have gone through this hundreds of times. But yeah, have them contact the address or phone number of the Career Center that you can download from our files to this session.
Okay, and John Fagan would like to know, how does Nissan find that many good, reliable workers?
Keith, do you want to tell us about our struggles?
Well, it can be very difficult. As Wayne mentioned, we run 3 shifts, and that's probably it's going to go back to 2 shortly, and it's very difficult. I mean, the main challenge is probably not as much as the education. It is just the hours and the expectations, and you have to come in, you have to be there on time. When you have a line that starts, everybody on that line is depending on you. So showing up 5 minutes late don't work. All the rest of the people, if you're not there, then somebody's having to pick up, and it's quite a challenge. I don't have a magic answer for that right now. We have the same struggles as anyone else.
Yeah, assembly line work is very difficult. A lot of people might think, oh, I could do that. but to do a task 60 times per hour at the highest quality level, it's not for everybody. It takes a certain type of person to work on the assembly line that it's good for, and some it suits them just fine. They don't want to have to tell people what to do. They don't want to have to make decisions. Assembly line work is difficult, but it's high paying and full benefits, and it offers a path. You can work your way up through leadership positions. We have tuition reimbursement programs where you can go to school on your own time and get jobs that you become qualified for technically down the road if you like.
One thing a lot of people don't realize, and it's probably not very well advertised, is that there's a lot of jobs within Nissan that a person can get off the assembly line. One path, of course, is going into supervision, but we have other jobs that you can move into even without furthering your education. A lot of the groups have technologists. There's offline jobs, so that if you do your so-called, use the term, do your time, there's jobs you can get into at Nissan that doesn't mean chasing an assembly line. And a lot of people will come in and work for, a few months, and then, matter of fact, I heard one guy say, well, I've been here for 3 months and I'm still online. Well, it takes a little longer than 3 months, but there are opportunities there where you can do your time, do a good job, have a good attitude, and then move off the assembly line.
Okay, we have some few more questions here. Charlotte Bruce wants to know, what are the times of the shifts?
You want to take that one, Keith, or you want me to?
And I don't have my cheat sheet with me right now, but day shift starts somewhere around the 6 to 6:30 time frame. I think they may be staggered across the plant. Afternoon shift is around 2 to 2:30, and that would put, you can probably do the math as well as me, that would put night shift around probably 10 to 10:30. I'm not as familiar with night shift. Now, when we transform back to 2 shifts, I think we're going to go back to where we were 10, 12 years ago, where the day shift will start in the 7 to 7:30 time frame, and then night shift will still be in the probably 10 p.m. time frame.
Okay, and Joshua Fortier would like to know, what is the programming language used by your robotics department?
Well, I'm not real sure what you mean by language. The majority of our robots we have at Nissan are FANUC. You're familiar with FANUC, the yellow robots. I think paint robots are gray. The program languages come from FANUC. Now in paint shop, Paint Line 1, we have some ABB robots, which is a competitor to FANUC. They have their own language. I've actually been involved a lot with those here in the last couple of years, and it's been quite a challenge working through companies trying to make sure our technologists are getting what they need to get the programs right. Nissan has ventured out recently into the collaborative robots. I know we have some FANUC collaborative robots in the plant. A friend of mine just put some down in trim that are going to do some checks. And again, they're FANUC. Now, I know there's some of the less familiar brands. We've had some on site for trials. I think UL is a brand. I don't think we're using them online yet, but most of these robots, they're going to have their own programming, teach pendants and language.
Okay, just want to let everyone know we're getting a lot of questions right now. So if we don't get to your questions, I think probably Wayne and Keith might check in on the chat later and answer those questions through the chat. John Fagan would like to know, does Nissan move workers around to prevent line fatigue?
Yes, yes. We typically rotate about every 2 hours. Now there's some special circumstances where they may have to stop rotation periodically, but typically they used to at least try to rotate people every couple of hours.
Okay. And Sonia Wilson says, I teach marketing. Do you have any programs or tours available for high school marketing students? For example, could they come to the Nissan facility and meet with your employees that work in advertising, distribution, etc.?
Well, the main method for tours is the tour. It was on the sheet, the standard company tours. Now, as Wayne said, they're canceled right now indefinitely. We're not doing any tours right now. We're hoping they'll start back up when we get through this COVID situation. But the first step is to come in and take a company tour. And generally with high school students, we offer a little extra on the end. If they want to stick around for an extra 20 or 30 minutes, we can kind of carouse them in a conference room. And we have a group of volunteers that'll come in and talk to them. I do it some. Wayne does it some. We have some other people that have been involved on and off. And if we know ahead of time that, say, this is a group that's focused primarily on marketing, you know, we could probably arrange for somebody in marketing to come in and speak with them. We just need to know ahead of time.
Yeah, I guess have that person send me an email and we could connect them with the marketing group. It's actually at the headquarters building. Keith and I really don't work with marketing that much, but we have contacts at the headquarters building that we could put them in touch with, and down the road when things open up, maybe they could do some job shadowing and that type of thing.
The people who coordinate the tours are just right across the hall from where we sit. We're over there. I talk to them about every day, so they're real good at communicating with us. They'll walk over and say, we've got a tour and this is what they've asked for. And if we're available, we can usually arrange to have somebody talk to them.
So guys, we're at the end of the session and folks are needing to go to other sessions. So we should give them the keyword, the code and the keyword. I'll put that in the chat.
If you have more questions and you want to give them our emails, and they want to email us, we can try to answer them as best we can. Especially working at home a day or two a week, it makes that a little easier. It may be a little bit of time before we can get back with them. It may not be immediately.
If you guys want me to put those in the chats, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, go ahead and put it in the chat.
Okay.
I don't mind. And Keith and I can go into the chat after we get off of this Zoom and try to answer things. Will people be able to see that? Or
yes, they can come back to this at any time. They can come back to this page, the CTE page on their agenda, and follow up and look at the chat. And there are definitely some questions we didn't get to, so hopefully you guys can answer those for them later.
Well, we certainly appreciate everyone coming here and listening to our little share out, and we're hoping things will get better to where we could do a lot more interaction type stuff so that students can come out and see the real world. It makes a big difference.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you again for coming.
Thanks.